Now that we have an unlimited source of gunpowder and sugarcane here inside our castle, we'll be able to go on some bigger adventures, and one of those adventures I want to go on is looking for some frogs so we can finally get some frog lights for our area. The second thing I want to do today is do a little redstone with red to finally make ourselves a moss farm so that we can get unlimited moss blocks and bone meal to decorate our area. We also need to come to this second level and actually do some decorating so that this room doesn't look so empty and sad. And now that you know the plan for the day, let's start by getting ready to go on an adventure to find some frogs. Now, because we're going to need to make them a nether portal to get them from the locations in the overworld to the nether, we are going to need to collect some flint and steel and some obsidian. And I don't actually think I have any more obsidian whatsoever, so that is a little bit problematic. For now, we'll grab ourselves a flint and steel, and we'll come back up towards the castle because I think somewhere I had buckets. Okay, perfect. We got a bucket. So now we're gonna go scoop up some water really quick. And we're gonna go find that lava pool I had somewhere over here. Aha, there it is. And we'll quickly just land, get enough obsidian for a portal, and be on our merry way. All right, we've got 15 obsidian, so that is more than enough. So let's head back and look at that castle. Ignore the box, but just look at the castle. It's so pretty. All right, we've got obsidian, flint and steel. We got a boat, some buckets, and some leads. I'm gonna start by just going to one biome at a time, but eventually we'll have enough for all of the different frogs. We're also going to bring some wood with us in case we wanna make more boats or need anything else. And now that we got the frogs in their places and we've collected some frog lights, the next thing I want to do is actually start collecting resources to work on our build for today. Now, as for the color palette, I am thinking that we are going to use some dark green terracotta for the walls, and we're also going to mix in some lime terracotta, moss, some of the bamboo blocks. I do want to have some of the stripped bamboo, so we'll kind of have the color palette looking something like this, with the moss block mixed in there. So the roof is going to be mainly made of moss, but we'll add in some highlights of the yellow bamboo, the green bamboo, and some lime terracotta. And the walls are going to be the dark green terracotta, kind of like how we have these pink terracotta walls. The roof trim is going to be made of the stripped oak logs and oak planks, stairs, all of the oak variants. And then we're going to have some corner pillars on the edge of our house with some of the stripped spruce. Now, since you know the color palette, as far as where I was thinking of placing this, I kind of thought that placing the little moss farm build right in here would be perfect. And then what is also nice is we are next to the hole, but this is all solid ground underneath us, so we can definitely dig this out. And that's where I want to place our automatic moss farm, underneath the house. And I thought it would be kind of cool if the floor inside our build was made out of some green glass, so that we can see the moss farm at work. But I'm gonna take a quick snooze really quick, and then we'll start clearing out the land. All right, the land is cleared out and we got a little outline for our build for the moss farm. Now, as for this outline, this is a 15 by 11, and then we are going to build this up too tall right here so that we'll have a little staircase leading up to the actual house. But underneath the house, we are going to have a little ladder system down below where we're actually going to build the farm. So what we're going to do next is hollow out a place for that moss farm to go and do a little bit of redstone with red. And slowly but surely, we worked on the moss farm until finally we had it running. At least what we thought was running. Somehow we only had one trapdoor functioning and opening up the water gate, so we had to figure out how to solve that, and after a bit of time, we finally had the moss farm fully functioning and working. Okay, I figured out my dilemma with why I couldn't get the farm to work. I literally just forgot to put the redstone all along here, so it was only triggering the trapdoor that was right above this area. But now, if we notice, it looks like we have our moss farm working, the trapdoors are going on their hopper clock, everything is working well. So thanks for attending the session of Redstone with Red. Now we can ignore all of this and go back up to the surface and do the thing that we all would much rather do. Well, at least I would much rather do, and that is decorate above. Ooh, I'm gonna sleep down here though in case there's a creeper. But then we're gonna collect the resources to start building the house. All right, now we're to the part where we are actually starting to decorate and work on the base of the moss farm. I am going to keep the moss farm running just because we are going to be using a lot of the moss on the roof and to make the mossy cobble bricks and just the mossy cobblestone. So we're just going to let this run while we work away at getting the base all set up, the foundation, and adding in all of the details to the walls, the roof, and everything else. So enjoy the time lapse. All right, we finally have the moss farm exterior and interior all decorated, and I think this is so cute. I love the little accents of the yellow bamboo, green bamboo, and the lime terracotta. I think the roof just looks so much better as far as texture goes, and of course we had to add a little bit of pink accents to match the azalea, mossy little trees and shrubs, and we had the windows also in pink to bring out some of that more pink vibe into this, but I think this is so cute. As for the interior, I did add a glass floor so we can see the moss farm at work, and I love how this Vanilla Tweaks texture pack makes the moss carpets kind of drape on the sides, even through the glass. I think it looks so cool and just adds to more of the mossy overgrown vibes of this place. But I intentionally, for the interior, just kept it mainly just all of the different items that you'd find inside a moss farm and the azalea trees. So we have the azalea bushes, leaves, lots of moss overgrownness. Of course, we added some flowers in here, but I really just emphasized just the green lushness because this is a moss farm after all. As for the upstairs, there's not a whole lot to it. We just have some bookshelves that we can add some books into, crafting table. Probably this will just be an area for a bed and just a little spot for us to, easily AFK up here. We also have a bunch more bookshelves on either side and a spore blossom to give us some particles, but I think this is so cool. I think the floor and seeing through to the moss farm is definitely my favorite part of all of this. And of course, the moss just hanging over the edges. Now, the next thing that I wanted to work on is a little bit more decorating because the interior of our castle still has some work to be done. On a live stream, I was able to bring both of our villagers into here because this is where they are going to hang out, and I figured that we would have all of our villagers be above and below this kind of little loft balcony area. We'll add some glass in here, but this is kind of gonna be the balcony for all of the villagers to be up. As for the cherry tree on the top gazebo deck, I did want to find a way to get up there, but I thought it would be kind of cool if we could use the organic cherry tree roots as the way. So I did start kind of mocking up some placement where we can kind of just step up the different roots all the way and get up to the gazebo portion. But I'm not sure if I like how these little roots are gonna look, so I also toyed around on stream with the idea of maybe having the roots just be separate, looking more like a mangrove root system, but then maybe making a little bubble elevator that goes up right into the middle of the tree, so we can take the bubble elevator and it's gonna be surrounded by all of the cherry roots that are coming down through the moss roof. But we're just gonna spend some time putting together the interior for this cozy castle, and then I'll give you guys a little tour of the interior once we get it all completed. Now we have the fun task of trying to get these villagers in place. They're gonna be right here. So we're gonna see if the F3B trick works to get them into place. Why? No, don't, just, yep, okay, there we go, yep. And then if I just boop that. Okay, where the heck are you going though, F3 and B? Hello? Hello? Where are you? Oh my word, the tree! What are you even looking at? Oh, my Lanta. Okay. It's fine. We'll just stick you in a freaking boat again. Okay, drop down. Go. That's your own fault. Oh my goodness. Even Arlo is concerned for this villager. Okay, but for real, dude, really, like, why? Go this way. Shoo. Okay. I'll deal with you later. Give me 1 second. I just got one villager at a time that I can focus on. Ow. Get rid of these. And then I think if I'm careful, there we go. Okay. Then we'll remove this, place that there. Hopefully they'll still read and pick up that this is a lectern for them. I'm hoping. Maybe I'll get rid of this one just to be sure they didn't see it. Ah, that's what it was. Okay, perfect. So now we just kind of get to work with this guy until we get the trade that we're looking for. So this guy will be good and in place. Now let's go deal with our escape artist. Now what I've discovered is the easiest way to deal with villagers is to actually use our friend, the Happy Gas, or as we recently named them, we have Rose Blossom. So what I need to do is we need to first get this boat on a lead. There we go. And then if I get off Rose Petal or Rose Blossom, then I have added our villager on to Rose Blossom, and now I'm holding her like a balloon. Now, if I jump Oh, wait. Hang on. Haha, did you see how smooth that was? Okay, so now what we have to do is, if I go into freecam, look at this. We gotta just tote our little villager up a little bit higher so that we're able to turn them around and get them back into the castle. Because, yeah, I couldn't be bothered to work with villagers any other way at this point, and it actually works pretty good. So, as long as we have shears, it works. And then... Wait. Oh no, hang on. Where am I? Are you... That was my efficiency 5 guy. Are you kidding me? Oh my gosh, goodness. Famous last words. I literally was just saying, wow, it's just so convenient to use the ghasts for moving villagers, and then I freaking killed my villager. Yeah, you can't plan that out, guys. Oh my gosh. Dang it. Well, I guess we know what trade our other villager is gonna be. We just won't tell him why he's picking up the trade that he is. Oh my gosh, I can't believe. And then I was panicking, so I was like stuck in free cam and just couldn't. Oh my gosh. Oh, I'm so sad now. That is such a bummer. Hopefully they didn't see anything, right? They didn't see anything. We're fine, right? Ay, all right. Looks like we got some work to do, but I'm not gonna honestly spend that much time right now because frankly, I don't want to wait around to get efficiency 5 again, so that will probably be a future red problem and probably honestly a stream thing. So we're just gonna put this lectern over here for now and finish decorating the rest of this place. All right, I grabbed more glass so that I can finish off these petals, and then I'm thinking that it would be really cool if I use the frog lights in here just to give some more lighting to this back wall without needing to use these torches. So we've got those there, and if I step back, I think that looks pretty cool. Just some colored glass in the wall. I like it. I haven't done a room this large in a while for an interior, so I'm gonna just start with getting the loft area all decorated and then moving down to this main floor after that. But I feel like when there's larger projects or areas where I'm not really sure where and how I want to decorate everything, then it just works to take it in smaller chunks. So we'll start with the little loft space and grabbing some extra resources from the chests. We'll grab some oak stairs. I also want a spore blossom in here because I do like the idea of kind of having the spore blossom kind of giving some more particles for down here as well. But then for these corners, I think if I do some stairs, we'll do some trapdoors. I think that will look really good. There we go. And we'll do the same thing here. And then I'm thinking we should get ourselves a little bit of a railing just for some safety purposes. So I think to contrast the pink, maybe we'll see about using some crimson to pull that in more, or oak. I think cherry would be too much. So let's just see what we feel like will look best. All right, we've got oak, crimson, and cherry, and we're just gonna do a little bit of a color comparison. I feel like that's often the best way to kind of figure out what will look the best. So we'll go like so. Okay, and then if I back up, let's see here. We've got crimson, we've got the oak. I think the oak would be too much because of all the bookshelves behind it. It would kind of blend in, but maybe we want it to blend in. The crimson definitely stands out the most. I think the cherry is definitely out. It's just way too much of the cherry. I think it's either gonna be oak or crimson. Even though the crimson has more of a contrast, I do like how the oak blends in a lot more, so let's add some oak there. Then as we were collecting some cherry wood, we had some creepers somehow escape from the creeper farm. Just kidding, I didn't sleep through the night, and they just came out after me, per usual. With the creepers taken care of, we continued collecting more resources and continued working on the interior. Alright, I think this place is coming along nicely. I did want this to be more of a garden-esque vibe because the gazebo area above is kind of like a garden vibe. So we've got all of these shrubs and plants and flowers, and maybe we can have these librarians be researching the flowers in this flower forest village to kind of paint some backstory and lore to why all these villagers are here, why they have all these books and plants indoors, and I think this is really cute so far. I definitely want to add some carpeting, and I think we'll use some colored carpets and go back to the spruce village to grab some wool so we can make some flower patterned carpets. I think that would be really cute, and maybe we can have the majority of the carpet be green and then add some like white flowers. We'll maybe add some yellows and some oranges and some pinks, kind of like what we have in the glass here. But I also wanted to add in some bits of shelving here so we can have even more plants on display. So I was thinking that we'd have maybe like 2 slabs like so, and then 3 trapdoors in the middle. And then we can have this be more of a research area as well, potentially. But I think this is looking really good. I really like the backstory of these villagers researching all the plants and flowers here. I think it fits perfectly for a flower forest village. And since I was just talking about all the moss carpets and such, I think I want to work on that next. So we'll get a bunch of moss all crafted up. All right, I got ourselves some yellows and pinks, magentas, and orange, and I think now we can just make some cute little flowers scattered throughout this area. So we'll just do a combination. Actually, I don't think orange works in the middle. I think we'll just stick to having yellow be in the middle. But we can add all these flowers, and then we can even have some white flowers, and we'll use some of the white carpet to be the centers as well, because I think the yellow and white make the best flower centers for sure. But look at this, it's so cute. I didn't like how the orange looks, so we're removing that. But already, this is just so cute and fun. I love this. And we'll make a white one, which honestly, I think my favorites are the white ones and the pink ones. I think they're the cutest. But we'll also add a pink one over here, except instead of a yellow center, we'll have a white center. There we go. And look at this. This is such a fun little flower carpet. I love this so much. And even though we don't really have enough space to make a full flower right here, I do think it would be kind of fun if we try to just make it seem like there was a flower right here. And as far as colors, we're all gonna kind of have the flowers next to each other as far as colors go. So we'll just go like this with a white one. And there we go. Look at that. It's so fun. I love this so much. It's such an easy little decorative bit to add to your moss carpets or your flooring, is to just add some designs into it. But I think this looks so cute. It definitely fits the vibe of some villagers that are studying plants and flowers, don't you think? All right, with most of the room figured out, it is next time to figure out how our little tree root staircase is gonna go. I brought glowberries in case we want to just bone meal some glowberries and kind of have a vine hanging down in between all of the tree branches, but I'm just gonna kind of toy around with some ideas of how to make this actually work as a way to get up to our gazebo, so I hope you enjoy the time lapse. Now, while I still haven't been able to get this guy to give me efficiency 5 again, I do have the names for our cats that are helping us in our creeper farm. Now, the names that I'm going with, somebody mentioned in the comments the name Sizzler, and along with that, I thought that the name Dinah, like dynamite, since this is a gunpowder farm after all, would be the perfect 2 names for our little kitty cats. Now I just gotta make sure I have my torches with me since we have to go down into the creeper farm. Now I've already been opening up this wall here to get in here, but I'm a little bit concerned. There might be some creepers in here. Hopefully not. Let's just close this up fully, so at least they can't get to me quite yet. And we'll come up this way. Now I turned my night vision mod back on and there's no creepers. Okay, perfect. So this cat will be Sizzler. And no creepers over here. The other one will be Dinah, short for Dynamite. And looks like they put themselves in a timeout just now. Okay, now what we're gonna do is fully seal up the wall here. Open these back up. Oh, and I almost forgot. We need that carpet there, otherwise this won't work. So now we can sneak our way out. And now that we have the cats named, a beautiful interior completed in here, and a cozy moss farm manor, that is going to do it for today. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you enjoyed the builds and adventures, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, everyone.